episode 13 of the Pop Shock podcast. If this is your first episode, I apologise.
You won't be surprised. You won't be surprised.
This week we don't have. You can tell we've been left to their own devices. We don't have a Jared and a Massimo, but we do have a Chrissy, and Chrissy is here, and he's
and a Danny,
and a me.
We're all holding like no bars. We're breaking out of prison.
Is that what's happening?
Yes.
The prison of life.
We're opening our third eye, and we're going to speak to the ayahuasca.
Mate, as I say, I don't know if I'm leaving this in, right? But see at the top, I can see the bar on like Zencaster where we're recording this, and see like the audio wave for you. It's just this massive block at the start, and it's just casual. And right after that, it's like, what happened? Anyway,
you got a burst of energy.
So on this episode, on episode 13 of the podcast, we are going to talk about a shit ton of gaming news. I don't know what it is, but over the last sort of couple of weeks, couple of days, there's been so much kind of gaming news that's dropped. On last week's episode, we didn't do any news, but you can go and check that out. It will be in the channel. I might link it below. We talked about Thor and Stranger Things and
Stranger Things.
But this week, we're just going to talk about news and then do the topic at the end, which... It's kind of follow on from what I said about Thor last week about how the Marvel movies need a direction. They don't really have an aim at the minute, and they need something to aim towards, in my opinion, and I'll get into why. Anyway, with all that said...
Can't wait to hear.
Jer's not here, so let's just bash Marvel.
Let's destroy it.
We call that as easy hammer. Like, yeah, but... God of War has been speculated for a while when that game's coming out because people are hyped. It got delayed. It was maybe was it last year and then the start of this year.
Was it?
It was maybe the end of last year, and then it got pushed to the start of this year, and then there wasn't a date sort of announced. And I had the theory, and I think I'm right. I think they were waiting until they knew, right, we can definitely hit this date before they announced anything, because people were like, will it be 2023? Will it still be 2022? But no. It's been announced November the 9th, 2022. So I'm.
What's been the reasons? Is it just because I was going to say is it reshoots or something like that, but I don't think it would be. It would be rendering maybe.
I think.
Or do you think it's just
honestly, I think it's just a hugely ambitious game. Like the first game was super detailed and big open worlds, but not like everything. Nothing was barren. There was like every environment was like detailed and there was stuff to do and stuff to see and stuff to interact with and fight with and. So I think it's probably just that. They're probably just making it. I've always said with games, especially open world games, take as long as you need. I would rather wait another year and get a game that's dynamite when it comes out than have it last year and then have it. Exactly, Cyberpunk. Which might be good next year.
Situation.
Exactly.
Oh, I know. You really don't want that. I mean, when I first played Cyberpunk, I was thinking it's actually not that bad. Like even though. The jumps and all that. Like I was I think I paid like 60 quid for it, so I think that was in the back of my mind. I was like, fuck, sorry, it's a good game, it's not a bad game. But yeah, I would say God of War takes its time. It's much more better if it is. I mean, hopefully it's no anything like voice actors and stuff that they need to come in. Maybe it's just the whole game.
I don't know. Situation. The performances in the first one were solid, so I don't think there'll be an issue there. Have you played the first game?
I played the first game on. Is it PS3?
PS4.
Like the very first.
Oh, the very first one, PS2.
I played the very first one.
Right. No, I mean the one before this. I mean the soft reboot, like God of War 4, which was just called God of War. Oh,
yeah. No, I mean, no. That's the one where he carries around the big head, isn't it? Yeah. And him and the boy. Scottish guy. No, I've not watched. I've not played it yet. But apparently, everything you've said and what I've heard is it's like a really good story.
Well, I know that you're not.
That's really what I'm in for.
I know that you're not really been a PlayStation guy, but it is on PC now. God of War, or if it's not already, it's coming to PC. I think it's out.
It's on Steam. It's on Steam. It's on.
If you see it in a sale, buy it 100%. Like no question, you'll love it. Like I don't, you know me, I don't really like fantasy games. I was never really big into God of War before. Like it was just a big angry bald guy hitting things. Like this game, it was the story and the relationships and the characters and the acting that made this incredible. Like see the guy that plays Kratos, he totally upped his game for this game. Like the first three, as I said, he's just an angry hero, typical video game hero that shouts. But in this, he's got so many layers in this game. He's got like that anger, but he's got like a sadness within him, and then he's also got like he's trying to keep the boys separate for his past, and there's so much going on in that character's head, and then the boy's also really good, and everyone in the game's great. It's a brilliant story game.
Do Do you know if the previous games had motion capture to it?
I don't think so. I don't think they did.
Because a lot of that is like, see, when Red Dead and people say, "Oh, Red Dead was like such a emotional game," it's because the actors were there. They were moving slowly if they're like hurt or something like that.
It makes it more
So it might be
cinematic.
doing something to that.
100%.
And it's actually, instead of him just being in a voice box doing the lines, it's actually him moving about.
Yeah.
Which could be a bonus, you know.
But yeah, I mean,
it might not actually be him. It might be some random dude.
No, I think you're right, because I think I have seen behind the scenes. I think it is him with the suit on. But that this game, like, it's up there with games like that and like The Last of Us. It's it's on that level just for its performances and its acting, and its presentation is really impressive. Like, the graphics are great, like, technically, but see, just the way it's presented, it's so cinematic. It's I love the first one. I really hope this one's dynamite, but I'm sure it will be.
Well, there's a big wolf in it, so I'm plus. If that's like a god.
Aye, fight with a big wolf, apparently, yeah.
That sells me, not the story, just the big wolf. That's the best thing.
So,
well, apparently, is that right? Is that right? The next bit is E3 will return as in person.
The next piece of news is that E3 will be back fully fledged in 2023.
I don't think it would probably. Do you think it would do well?
There's some mixed opinions on this. So I personally am pleased. I love E3.
Really?
I think some of it is super cringy, and I really enjoy that.
Oh yeah,
I've missed that.
Oh, you enjoy that?
I love it, man. I love people just being pure awkward on stage. It's hilarious.
So weird.
I love the hype before it. I love guessing like what's going to happen. Are we going to see Splinter Cell this year? Are we going to see these games that you've not seen in years? Like, try to guess what studios make what.
Yeah.
I love that whole kind of process. Usually, when you actually watch it, you're disappointed because none of the shit you wanted is actually there. But I love the preamble. I love the pre-show stuff, and I love listening to other podcasts talking. Like the speculation in IGN and GameSpot, and I like all that kind of funny and shit. Some people are pissed off that it's coming back as an in-person event. So E3 was always press only up until 2020, I think, and then they had or maybe it's 2019, and then they had their first year where they brought the public in. Apparently, it was a shambles. Apparently, people were queuing for like 4.5 hours to play a demo and shit. Like, the capacity just wasn't. And the tickets sold out too quick. People couldn't get tickets, so people were already pissed off at that, and they were really expensive. And then when the people that did get there apparently had to queue for hours in the blistering heat just to play a shitty demo of an indie game. Like, apparently it was a nightmare.
Yeah.
And then COVID happened, so obviously E3 never happened again. And then last year it took another break. So it's back. What I'm curious about is where the big names will be there, because even at that last open E3 that I was talking about, PlayStation weren't there. PlayStation did their own showcase separately.
See, that's the thing.
Xbox, well, this year Xbox did their own showcase. Will they even bother? Nintendo don't need to. Nintendo sell a shit ton of games. I feel like Nintendo don't even need to market anything. Like,
Nintendo's in their own
billion copies. Like, people just
they're in their own
Zelda.
fucking market.
Like, exactly, they don't need to do it. So I'm like, well, I wouldn't mind if it was just third party studios. If it was just like kind of like your Bethesdas and stuff, that'd be fine.
I mean, it's interesting that the fact it is like during COVID, it's kind of
Bethesda. I'm talking shit. Bethesda are first party now because Xbox bought them. Fucking forgot that. You're not even going to be there. Ubisoft, I guess. Ubisoft. Do you want Ubisoft? I don't know.
No, fuck EA. Fuck off.
Exactly. Just the Ubisoft and EA. And Activision. Activision. Oh my god! There's no studios left, man. There's no studios left.
Well, Microsoft should just hold on because they've got all the fucking mini studios underneath their belt. Fuck, that'd be fucking useless. I mean, I guess so. I mean, if they're going to rechange and reframe the whole E3, it's probably best to kind of. I mean, we want to get more indie games because the massive developers are making sometimes really shit games.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's a good kind of open the gate thing. But I was wondering about the whole open to the people. Maybe that's why they've done this. Maybe they realise Microsoft's going away. We need to actually just get fan elements in instead of just press.
I agree, right? Maybe. But I think if you're going to do that, you have to make it a great event. Like, you can't do this and have it be shit.
Players.
You know what I mean?
No,
you can't have all these people fighting for tickets and then they pay all this money and then it's crap again. Like, then nobody's going to go after that.
No.
Like, you need to like, make it a brilliant event that people afterwards are talking about. Oh my god, that was amazing! I can't wait till next year's. Do you know what I mean? That's what you want ideally.
It's kind of like Comic-Con, isn't it now? Like all the like DC, Marvel, they all have their own kind of standalone things now.
Yeah.
Like the announcement things. So it's like all these massive gatherings are going to get.
I think a big element of that is Disney buying Marvel.
The costumes.
No, because Disney have got their own I mean, they will still go to Comic-Con this year, and apparently they will. Our topic basically, they're going to give the answer to what the MCU is heading towards. Apparently at Comic-Con.
Right, okay.
So yeah, not a moment too soon, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Speaking of studios being developed, though, Bungie, which has always been known as an Xbox studio, developed the original Halo games, is now a PlayStation studio officially. I mean, we knew about this deal a long time ago, but it's officially went through now. So Bungie are official, part of the PlayStation family. They will no longer make Xbox games. It is a big mix-up, but this came out just after the Activision announcement, the Xbox acquired Activision. So a lot of people seen this as a response. It wasn't. These deals go in way before we hear about them, so there's no way.
Of course,
do you know what I mean? They would have known. But it's still, and this is nowhere near. Bungie are a great studio, but they're nowhere near on the level of Activision. Do you know what I mean? They're not that size.
No.
Arguably they're better, but they're not as big. They're not as significant in the industry, is what I'm saying.
I mean, like, what is the most, like, thinking about it? Like, I was thinking that Bungie's biggest game at the moment is like Destiny.
Yeah.
So, and that was kind of tailored to the PS4, wasn't it? So it was kind of like a partnership waiting to happen.
Yeah, I wrote a piece on. Yeah, well, they had exclusive content for Destiny on PS4 and PlayStation. I wrote a piece on this for the website I used to write for, and it was like trying to work out what is Bungie developing for Sony, and what I reckon it must be, because okay, they'll probably be making another Destiny game like Destiny 3 or whatever, right? But they have to be working on something original, like a new IP, I think. And I think you've got this studio that's developed Halo, developed Destiny. Let them do a first-person shooter. PlayStation doesn't have an exclusive first-person shooter at the minute, because Killzone was kind of the one that they had, and that's not had a game in years. Then before that, on PS3, they had Resistance, which I enjoyed, but again, it's dead franchise at this point. They don't have a first-person shooter. They've got all these adventure games like Horizon, and they've got story games like Last of Us, and fantasy games like God of War. They don't have like a first-person, military shooter or futuristic shooter. I think that's why this deal went through.
Do you think that's what they would go? Do you think they would play to their strengths in the sense of it's like Halo and Disney? Do you think they would go into a kind of first person completely different? They wouldn't go into like a World War II thing. I know that's like dead in the water.
I don't have anything against studios doing different shit. Like Insomniac, the guy that made Ratchet and Clank, made Spider-Man for PlayStation. Do you know what I mean? I don't have a problem with studios stepping out of their comfort zone and delivering something dynamite. Like even I know that I don't love Horizon Zero Dawn, but those are the guys that used to make Killzone. Like that is still I don't love Horizon, but it's a step up for Killzone. So I don't mind these studios, taking a chance and doing something different.
Taking a step.
But at the same time, I just think if I was a PlayStation board person and I was like, right, we need to appeal to all these different demographics. Like, there's people that just buy
from the
fantasy, there's people that just buy shooters. Oh shit, that's a big market we don't get because we don't have a shooter. So, and now that Xbox has bought Activision, technically they own COD. Although they have said that COD will still come to every platform, Activision have the final say on what happens. So, like, exclusive maps, exclusive DLC, guns and shit will all be on Xbox. So you need to remember that as well. So I think this is PlayStation saying, right, you can have COD and we'll do our own thing. I don't know. That's my theory.
I was going to say is like, do you think PlayStation's been a kind of more friendly in that element in the sense of they've been saying, right, we'll welcome you in our studio, let's do what you want. Do you think they're more the studio would let somebody off the rails kind of thing like that, or like take a risk? I mean, Bungie isn't a mass. It's not like what was the. Do you know the financials behind it? Was it?
I wrote the story, but hold on, I'll bring it up in a minute. But in terms, answer your last question, I think that PlayStation probably are a bit more freeing than Microsoft, but they're still a corporation. They're still a money-making studio.
Oh yeah, they're still going to be conservative.
They're not going to let them make a 2D indie game. Like, do you know what I mean? They're going to still have them make something AAA that they can sell, because at the end of the day, that's why they did it.
Well, I never really. I played the first Destiny and I was like, oh, come on, like I kind of I felt it was going to get repetitive. When you get through it, but like hopefully they can do something that's like not open world and it's more story, but really story focused.
Yeah,
Halo was kind of story focused. I mean, they created a whole different realm, but it'd be kind of good if they dive deep with that.
3.6 billion. 3.6
oh fuck!
billion.
All right, okay, that's you don't really want to make a chance for that actually. 3.6 billion. Wow.
Well, compared to the Microsoft deal, that's pennies. Microsoft deal was 69 billion. So
I know. I'm just just the billions. It's
I know,
it's
it's a
crazy
scary
when they're
number,
talking about
yeah.
when you're talking about
Billion.
billions and years ago it was millions. Now it's billions.
And
it's getting scary.
it's the way the industry's going, because in other news, I'll link these below as well, stories that I reported on. Oh God, how do you say that? Proletariat acquired by Blizzard.
Proletariat?
So Blizzard, who obviously are now owned by Xbox, Blizzard have acquired this team. I'm not going to say it again, but Proletariat, I think they're called. They developed a battle royale fantasy game called Spellbreak. So
Spellbreak.
they have been acquired by Blizzard this week or last week, and Supermassive, the guys that just made The Quarry and they made Until Dawn and all those games,
the horror stuff.
they've just been acquired by Nordisk Games. Nordisk Games are a Eastern European publisher. They also own Just Cause now. They bought Just Cause, Mad Max, Rage, The Quarry, Until Dawn. Yeah, so
Really?
they're building up their own wee stable of franchises. So that's the way it's gone now, man. Like, I feel like a lot of these companies are maybe not trying to get into bed with publishers, but they're probably kind of like, if a deal comes through, they're just like, if there's money, let's go with it, because I feel like it's that or die at the minute. Like, it's like evolve or die.
Yeah.
I don't know. I might be wrong. Like, there's still small studios that do well, I'm sure, but I feel like with the way the industry's going, there's not going to be many third-party independent studios left.
It's definitely harder to get into it. Like, if you think about it, there's all these massive deals and stuff. If you were like unless you were you had a team around you that were all kind of indie and you were like, they were happy to do it and they weren't really kind of going to get bought out and they could create really good games.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the kind of only kind of standard that you have to put in, but that's still probably millions of dollars and like millions of pounds to get to that level. It's no like even like when we were trying to do like a wee game thing, it's like all the coordinations and stuff to actually get everybody involved and that. It's lunacy unless you're really committed to it and you've got nothing else.
Or you've got a shit ton of money.
Oh yes, if you've got a shit ton of money, that helps. Yeah, but fuck it. Lucky bastards, man. Why we don't get it? We need to sell our ideas to these guys. Sony, come talk to
me. Talking about games that are sort of still independent, though, there was a game that came out, I don't know, let's say 2 years ago, called Terminator Resistance for consoles and PC. I recently bought it for PS5. I've not played it yet, still in a cellophane, but I'm going to get round to it because I've heard it's surprisingly good. You don't play as a Terminator, you play as a Resistance member. There's stealth elements, there's first-person elements. It is apparently it's a budget title. You know, it's not been made by a huge studio. It's not like a pure polished experience, but I don't care. See if it's fun. That's all that matters.
I'm surprised they got the actual name. Well, I didn't realize it was such a small studio, but I'm surprised they got the title.
Well, clearly they're doing well enough that they've been allowed to make this RoboCop game. A RoboCop first-person shooter's been announced with Peter Weller involved.
With Peter Weller,
like the likeness and the voice is there, and it's the same studio that did the Terminator game, and it looks pretty cool.
I'm so buzzed. That is exactly why I kind of thought this could be really good because of the Terminator game.
Yeah.
Like even the fact that there was a game of RoboCop. If you're a big RoboCop fan, you might remember this. It was out in like maybe the early 2000s, like 2005 or something. There was a first-person RoboCop shooter. Don't know what it was called.
Don't remember.
It was really shit.
Right.
but it was like if you were a fan of RoboCop, you would love these games. But like it really brought me back to this is what it, because I was thinking, it's going to be third person. Like I would love a third person experience, but when I saw the first person,
I remember this game now. It was just called RoboCop, and it had him on the cover pointing the gun. Yeah,
it was green. Was it like green kind of thing?
No, it's like a blue background. It's like a blue background.
Aye,
and you've got like a silver RoboCop. Yeah.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Like, see if it's going to an upgrade for that. I mean, I'm getting like what it looks like. It's a complete open world. It's got Peter Weller. I don't know if they're doing the same thing. Maybe, with Darth Vader and the
voice thing,
the Obi-Wan Kenobi voice. I don't know if they've actually got him. Maybe they've took his elements and just.
No, as far as I know, he is he's signed up to be involved. Yeah, apparently.
He sounds like exactly like 40 years ago.
I know.
It's not like an old Robo.
No. They might. I suppose they can like de-age a voice. So maybe they've done that. Like make it a slightly higher pitch.
Are you a RoboCop fan?
I love RoboCop. I love RoboCop. I love the original film. I hate the sequels. I think the sequels are shite.
Number 2 is alright.
Yeah.
It's passable.
I love the first RoboCop. The remake was poor, but I loved one
Disappointing.
scene. See that one scene where they take all his robot parts away, and he's
Well,
just
he's just
a set of
he's just
lungs, a head, and a hand. That scene was horrific. I was like,
Like,
what is this doing?
you're brutal, man.
This film's like a 12A. Like, kids are watching this. This is so dark. Because he's like, kill me, let me die. You're like, oh my god, this is
Gary
heavy.
Oldman's just kind of like, oh, you can't die.
Yeah, that one scene I thought was that scene deserved to be in a better film. Do you know what I mean? Because the acting in that scene's great. No Skarsgård, but Joe Kinnaman. Joe Kinnaman's great, and Oldman's great, and it's just a shame that it was in such a mediocre film. Like that film was just so. Like,
I mean, like I had really high hopes on it because I loved the RoboCop stuff. Like, I used to watch like the behind the scenes of how they made. I think it was 1987, and the music in that's fucking amazing. But when you actually see how Peter Weller had done stuff, it was like really Robo.
That was the one thing I didn't like about the remake. He moved.
Anyway, the room. He was like,
run
and I was
jump.
like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I hated that too. I like heavy, slow RoboCop. That's way more kind of classic.
It's like a fat man who's chasing you. A fat cop. That's what it is.
But he's like indestructible, you know. He's kind of like
invincible fat cop.
Speaking of the Terminator, this studio is busy. Not only are they developing this RoboCop game, they're also developing an open world Terminator survival game. So I think this will be like a sequel to Terminator Resistance, but it will be like open world. And they're talking about doing like online elements, so it might be kind of like. Maybe like PUBG, where like there's a whole map of survival, like resistance, and like whoever's last alive wins. Like the Terminator's hunting you all down, and I've heard all these kind of rumors about it, and it sounds cool. It sounds interesting.
That's actually because like a lot of it, like I don't want to really mention the fucking thing, but like see Resident Evil 2 with the Tyrant.
Yes,
I think that's. I don't know if it was probably around ages ago, but just that kind of invincible enemy chasing you and stuff that has really became a hype in games now.
Yeah.
And like I think like the Resident Evil franchise is just going to latch onto that forever now. But like no other games are doing it, so I'm guessing this is what the Terminator is going to be like. It's like he's just going to be an invincible enemy you need to run away from.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Because you're not Kyle
Reese.
I was going to say Kyle Gass, but
that's
Tenacious D. I was like, you're not Kyle Gass. You can't play the guitar.
This is not a Terminator game. This is just a tribute.
We need to release a single when that comes out. This is not a tribute. But
yeah.
Hopefully the quality doesn't jump if they're making these two games. But
I don't know, man. I think. The RoboCop game isn't until June 2023, and I'm not given a date yet for Terminator, so it doesn't seem like they're rushing too much, which is good. Take your time, make good games, and put them out.
They're probably maybe they've just announced, so they're supposed to probably saying yes, we've got the contract.
That's the last. There's nothing else to do with the Terminator game. Literally, just we're making it. That's it. Whereas RoboCop one's got a trailer and stuff. So yeah.
I know.
But no, it's exciting because and it's also made me want to go back and play that Terminator game. Like, I've had it sitting for about a couple of weeks now. I bought it like a month ago, and it's just sitting there. And I'm like, do you know what? I mean, after I'm still playing Far Cry 6, but once I beat Far Cry, I'm like, do you know what? I think I'm going to make that my next game just because I'm excited for this RoboCop game. So
I think if I memory serves right, it's not a long game.
Yeah,
so it's like,
I've got that impression. Again, these kind of budget games usually aren't too long, but again, I don't care. See if it's good.
It's fun. It's fun.
So going from kind of positive, exciting gaming news to something depressing. EA is here to wreck the day.
God.
EA just loves just coming in and just ruining everybody's time.
Just destroying everything.
Just pissing on the fire.
Maybe they're just like, we need to make some noise because EA's got a bad rap. Just do whatever we can. Everybody else is buying shit and stuff.
It's like
EA's in the desert.
It's like Austin Powers when they're having Dr. Evil's having a meeting and he's like, we have not done something evil lately. What can we do? In my mind, that is the EA boredom. Like, it's just Dr. Evil just making shitty decisions. Yeah. So yeah, remember the skate games? Like basically the last franchise. Remember the last franchise that EA actually has some goodwill towards because they've ruined Mirror's Edge and they ruined everything else that people liked. They've now basically ruined. I don't know. Maybe they've not ruined Skate. We'll see. Skate 4 has been talked about for years. Skate 3 was the last one that came out, roughly, maybe not 10 years ago, but around maybe 8 years ago.
Definitely before the main like. It probably came out in PlayStation 3.
It was on PS3. Yeah, it was. It was on PS3. So it probably was 10 years ago. Yeah. So that game, the sequel Skate 4 has been talked about for years. People have been wanting it. People are like, EA, you're a shit studio, but just give us Skate 4. Like, just I don't care what else you do with your other shitty franchises, just give us Skate 4. And they've made it free to play, so that's always a red flag.
Wow. Oh
This isn't a paid
no.
experience. This is, unfortunately, this is just them putting out a games as a service, live service, loot boxy type game.
Oh
So
no.
initially, they put up this video called like the boardroom, and they were talking about it. And in the video, they were like, "Listen, this isn't going to be pay to win. It's going to be an evolving service that we're going to add to, and it's going to be positive and blah blah blah." Right? And then I saw this the other day. This is on Steam. EA Skate crackers discover loot boxes available for purchase in game using TAPS currency.
Oh god.
It appears there will be a loot box mechanic called swag bags where players can purchase randomized building materials and clothing.
Goodies.
It's not clear if the TAPS currency is exclusively earned in game or is purchasable outright, but it's called swag bags.
What shite.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be paid shit. I mean, maybe not. Maybe we're wrong. Maybe it'll be in game. You earn points and then you buy the points.
Oh, Danny,
that just does not seem like EA.
Don't put your hopes up, man.
That just does not sound like EA at all.
They'll do that. Like, if you've played Star Wars Battlefront, that's what they've done. But they made the credits so not hard to get, but like it was like you would get maybe for a 40-minute game, you would get 500 credits, and you needed 10,000 of them.
Yeah.
To get this thing, so it's like they'll probably do it, but it'll be so unachievable.
Yeah, so grindy.
Yeah, and the time you want to spend. So like you might want to buy this.
It just doesn't make the game fun. I know, like, but who's surprised it's EA? Like, I don't know. I just feel like it's literally the last good thing they had. Like, it's a mountain of shit with one bit of gold in it, and if you took a bit of gold in it, just threw it away.
That gold nugget,
and just took a dump on the pile.
On the shoulder gold nugget.
There you go, fans. More money, please. Like, it's just EA are just so smart, man. I hate them.
I don't know, like, because like they've no EA's. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but I don't know if they've came up with anything original in years.
No,
have they?
of course
they've just been playing. Exactly. I was like questioning myself. Like they've just been playing on sequels for all these times. So I think actually the board members or whatever are like, what I say, let's sink this company. Let's get it into like debt.
You know what? Just make the Dead Space remake good. Don't make.
Oh no! I want them to fuck off. I don't want them to touch
the.
I don't want them to touch Dead Space.
Just make it good. That's all I want. It's all you have left at this point. You've pissed Skate up the wall. All you have is Dead Space. Don't make it shit, please. Right, that's a plea EA. Because Jesus Christ,
man. Just leave it alone. Put your branding on it, but just leave the developers to do whatever.
The developers are doing Callisto Protocol, which is a totally different game, which I'm probably more excited about. I mean,
is that not the same as Dead Space?
It looks very much like Dead Space.
It's just he's in jail.
Yeah. So the original development team are making Callisto Protocol. That's out in December, and then the month after, in January, EA are doing the Dead Space remake. So again, more pressure to make it good because you've just had see if the studio come up with their own game and it's amazing, and then you put out the remake and use a massive company and it's shit. It's going to look so bad. You know what I mean? Like. Oh, EA, man. They're so stressful just to watch them, like their business performances. It's my God, man.
They're like,
don't make it easy for yourselves. Do you know what I mean? Do not make it easy for yourselves. Like, oh, Skate, that's a nice name. You like hear that name? Oh, it's free to play. What? No one has to.
What are you doing?
Just charge. Honestly, see if they just made this game just a good game and just even charge, like, you don't need to charge full price for it. Just put a small team on it and make it like 30 quid. And then maybe put some like expandable stuff in it. People would be fine with that. But just free to play, like, games as a service. There's just horrible phrases. They're so like business jargony phrases. You're just like, this franchise might be fun, and you're just making all a bit of money. Just they're the worst, man.
See what's it's kind of, it's probably so ignorant to say this, but like, see, even Skate, it's not like a really high graphics like thing. It's like the ability of moving. It's like you can even just have areas like what they used to have in like the original ones, where it was just like a room. Like, have that. The
fun
way
part.
I'm guessing it's not going to be this.
Do you know what I think they should have done right? The fun part of Skate was always the physics. Like, people don't like it because it was a great game. It was funny. Like, when you fell off and spazzed out, it was funny. So, see if they were to do like a Super Mario Maker type thing, but with Skate, that'd be amazing. Just like, you don't need to make a game. You don't even need to make a game. Just make some characters to play as. give us like an environment designer thing, like a menu to like do our own custom
Map
environments,
editor.
and
Yeah.
then just put the physics in that made the old skate games good. That's all you need to do. You don't need to make a game. Just do that, and people will have their own fun, and you just can make money. Like, just do that.
No.
Charge 40 quid, charge 60 quid for it. People will still buy it. Like,
No, that is
hey, what you
exactly what
did?
happens.
Like, honestly. Anyway,
Like,
they're
see, even
beyond
like
insane.
Far Cry 2, that's what we used to always do, make our own maps, just and then just fucking do anything.
The
make
map
races
editor in
and
Far
do
Cry
anything.
2 was amazing.
Was beautiful. It was out of this
I remember
world. So
making
just
a RAM.
do that.
They went on to this because you could do the terrain editor as well. So I had this big like mound, and then they just I'd done like spikes with explosive barrels in between the spikes, and it was like this pure small narrow platform that if you landed on that you were all right, but you had no chance of landing on it. So every time you just get spiked or blow up. It's quality, man. Oh, that map editor was so good.
That was beautiful. It was a lovely thing. So there you go. They fucked up.
Right, that was the bad, but we're half an hour down. I feel like we've covered all the gaming news. We're going to mix things up a wee bit. We've still got some more news that's Marvel related, but we're going to tie it into our topic. So we're going to take a wee hiatus for news and talk about what we've been watching and what we've been playing and reading and shit. Chris, I am seeing the Black Film tonight. I am seeing that film tonight with Ethan Hawke, and you have already seen it.
I would say it's well worth a watch. That's all I'll say. No, but it's
Here's an actual question for you. No, that's the genuine question before you say anything. So I've got an unlimited card now for the cinema, so I just go and see films. Like, don't need to pay for them or anything. That film is also on streaming, so I don't really need to go to cinema tonight. And it's a 8:45 showing. It's at 8:45. Should I go and kind of waste my Sunday night, or should I just watch it in the house? Because I've not paid for the ticket anyway, so it doesn't matter. Is it worth seeing it in the cinema, do you think?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
Thinking about the kind of atmosphere it might bring as well, because it's at night as well. It might be quite good.
Okay. Sold.
It's more psychological than actual physical. Like, see, because it's coming from the Sinister director.
Yeah.
It's not as physically scary. It's not even a horror. I would say it's a thriller. I don't know if it's been. A lot of people have said it's a horror, but it is kind of like a wee thriller. Really related to the Jake Gyllenhaal and Hugh Jackman.
Oh, Prisoners.
It kind of gave me that
Prisoners.
kind of vibes.
Right.
So that's why I kind of liked it, and I was like, oh, this is brilliant. But it really was held together by the cast of the kids.
Yeah.
Like, usually kid films are like they're like no proper emotions when they're going through really hard things.
Yeah.
So like the kind of emotions, the dynamic between him and the main character Finney and his sister was the kind of anchor of all this.
The heart of the movie.
And plus it had really good kind of callbacks from kind of 80s horrors, like It's in there.
Right.
We kind of call back. It's not like if they don't call it, but you can see that's very kind of.
The short story that the movie is based on was written by Joe Hill, who is the son of Stephen King.
His son.
When I read that made me more hyped to see it. I was like, oh, this is a Stephen King son story. I'll see this.
You can see, like, one thing is it's definitely a horror movie that's took in the sense of it's like not limited, but it's like, let's just use what we have.
Right.
Let's use this one room.
I like that.
This one street kind of thing. And
the best, I'm going to say the best horror, but the best movies in general are just that, like Reservoir Dogs. Like, just make it in one room and just make it good. Like, good writing, good acting.
Yeah, because it's like the dialogue between it. I won't spoil a lot of it, but it's all to do. Like, the whole point is that it's this. And also the beauty of this, the character, the kidnapper, the snatcher guy. Mm-hmm. I think that's his name, the snatcher.
The grabber, is it not?
The grabber, that's what it is, this grabber. Fuck. But the whole point of him is you don't get a backstory. That's the beautifulness of it. It's all mysterious. You're like, why the fuck is this person doing that? That's what the best villains do. Like the Joker, you don't have a backstory.
So I was watching an interview the other day with Scott Derrickson and Ethan Hawke, and Ethan Hawke was saying that he was like, see, when I get sent the script, he's like, I'm reading this, and I'm like, oh my god, this guy's so messed up. How did he get like that? So he phoned Scott Derrickson and he was like, mate, what's going on? Like, what is this guy's story? Why is he so messed up? And Scott Derrickson said, well, I've got my own version of that in my head. Like, I think I know why he's like that, but I'm not going to tell you. I want you to come up with your own reasons your own backstory in your own
That's
mind
brilliant.
and do your performance based on that, not based on my backstory. So I like the idea that, and he was saying, then it cut to the director Scott Derrickson talking, and he was saying how like when he was watching the dailies and stuff, there was certain scenes where he expected Ethan Hawke to zig and he zagged. He went the other way because, and he was like, that's the two different backstories. He's like, based on my backstory, he would play a take a certain way, but because his backstory is different, he's playing it a different way. So he was like, it was surprising to me to see that, and it was like it made it more kind of spontaneous and unexpected. And I'm like, that's cool, man. I like that idea. I like that kind of collaborative, creative thing. It's like you've got your own version, I've got my own version, but whatever we end up with is what we end up with. That's quite a cool way to approach it.
You can kind of say that's because they've got trust, but obviously because they've worked for each other for a wee while. So they're kind of saying, right, if I give him a little bit, he can run with it, you know.
Totally.
But like even like Ethan is only in it maybe like I would say maybe half an hour.
Right. And total.
Really, he's really used properly, like wee spikes and stuff like that. And he's not used for like the jump scares. I really don't think he's in really any jump scares. Like he's creepy scares, but he's just like kind of there, and you're like, oh fuck! Like, I didn't realize he was there.
I take it the jump scares are all like based around the ghost kids that show up.
Aye, I didn't want to say that, but I don't know much.
I know that the kid goes down to the basement and there's phones down there, and it rings, and it's one of the dead kids that he's already killed that's telling him how to get out. I know that's the basic plot.
Oh yeah, that's good. Well, that's really what it says. But I didn't realize it was. It's kind of a short period of time. It's not like a long.
Right.
I don't think it's a long. I don't know if I've missed anything, but it's not like over 5 years.
It's like a couple of days or something.
It's like a couple of days, and you're like, fuck, they've reached that phone pretty quick.
Yeah.
they've came to their own kind of conclusion that we need to help this kid. But yeah, like the mask thing is also quite. You don't really realize it until you've kind of sat back and watched it and think of it. But the masks actually changes his emotion.
The expression. Yeah.
So like even on screen, like you can see he's in shadow at one point, and you can see his mask smiling, right? And then he gets told something, and then you see it, and like, it must shot quickly back to the kid, and then go back to him, and the mask is a frown, and you don't understand why. And you're like, oh that's wow, like, he's not like changed it like that. A bit weird, like I'm angry now, but like you definitely see he was smiling, and then when it turns back to him, he's frowned.
That's cool.
He's in like a staircase, but you'll know when it happens because he's just kind of in shadow. But there's like I would say it's a kind of hopeful movie as well, even though it was a thriller.
Yeah,
it's like good to actually see some hope even when you're in such a dark thing.
That was something else that was not really spoiled, but I kind of heard. Obviously, Sinister ends in a dark way, like the family all die and it's the kids that do it and whatever. Spoilers for Sinister. Aye, and I feel like I heard that he'd done that on purpose because he was like, right, my last big horror movie ended in a pure dark, like depressing way. This one's going to end in more of a hopeful way. So I assume the kid gets away, or at least kills the baddie, even if he dies. Like I assume that's how it's going to end. So
yeah, I mean, it's a good way to think. Okay, even though there's a kid snapshot, there's something you can get out of it in the sense of there's either they get caught, even though maybe it doesn't get in the
and again, that's the thing.
Something happens.
I know that some people hate spoilers, Jared, but that's the thing with like movies. Like, see, even if I feel like I've kind of worked out that he gets away at the end of this movie, but that doesn't bother me because I'm now interested to see how that happens. You know, how he gets away and the build up to that. How well executed that is. That's what I'm looking forward to. That's the enjoyment of the film for me. So,
to be honest, in fact, my gripes for that is actually non-existent now because I've just realised like there's an element of it where the reason like, what he's making noise in is a soundproof room.
Right.
You know, so if he's upstairs and he's making noise, the grabber isn't going to hear anything that he's doing. So now that's just kind of destroyed everything that I was there. It's shocking. So actually, no, you're fine. So I won't spoil. I won't say anything else. But yeah, I would definitely go and see it. It's definitely kind of I think it might give you some chills when you come out of the cinema if it's night. I don't know if it will be dark because it's quite light now, but it will be.
Something else that I was seeing just when we last night in the interview I was watching. So it's a Blumhouse movie. So I think it was Jason Blum, the producer. Scott Derrickson lives in one of these houses that's like pretty big, and it's got like a basement. And while he was, I don't know if he was on holiday or maybe he was out filming, he was doing something. Somebody let him into the house, let Jason Blum into the house, and he got a black phone installed in his basement. And he phoned it one night, he's sitting his mobile and he phoned it, and Scott Delson's like, why is there a ringing noise coming from the basement? And he says like he says he was absolutely shit himself. He was doing with his torch and he seen this black phone ringing in the wall. He was like, what the hell? And when he laughed at it, he was like, wait. I was like, oh my god, man! Imagine doing that to something. That's amazing. And he's got it like looked in a certain way so that if he lists, like, obviously he was doing that for a moment when he phoned the number, but now if he lifts the phone, it connects to his mobile and a message just plays like, "You're such a dumb piece of shit. I can't believe I built a phone in your basement without you knowing." Like, it's just this message of him like taking the piss out of him whenever you lift it. It's amazing, man. It's so funny.
No, that's pretty good. That's,
Yeah.
I never thought that would be quite shit.
I know.
You just like hear a ringtone, you're like walking down, you're like, oh, what?
I know, like, whoever let him in, man, if it was a maid or something, they'd be getting the sack. Be like, mate, what are you doing?
I know.
That's a weird
Don't let
guy that
anybody
built a
about.
phone in the basement. Like, no. That's funny, man.
It's always basements in it. It's never like, I've just realised that in all the horror movies, it's always like,
always basements or attics.
There's always basements.
It was the attic in Hereditary.
I remember. I don't know if it was the Zodiac, and like I remember Jake Gyllenhaal was investigating the murder, and he was at, "Do you want to come down to the basement?" And he was at, "There's no basements in California or whatever."
That's such a good scene, man.
Like, you're like, what
see,
the fuck?
that is one of the creepiest moments in a non-horror film I've seen. Like, just the way the old man looks at him and goes, "Aye, that's what." As he goes, "Not many people have basements in California," and he goes, "Well, I do." And you're like, "Oh, it's so good." What a film, man! Obviously, yeah.
But yeah, I would say it's one of those films I never walked away from. The Black Phone, is it the Black Phone? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Aye, the Black Phone. Never walked away from it saying, "Oh, that was a wasted 2 hours." It was a good, wee, pleasant thriller movie where you could kind of put pieces together.
Cool.
It wasn't that hard to like kind of work out stuff, so it was kind of good.
I
but yeah, I would definitely go see it.
I'll
get popcorn and get a
thoughts next week. Aye.
See, with that unlimited card, can you get all that for free?
Nah, you get discount. Like, you get a 10% discount, which is okay.
That's alright. It's fine.
And then I think you get points as well. So like, if you get enough points, I think you get one for free.
Oh,
like,
you can work up the stuff.
I guess that sort of thing. Right. What else have I been watching? Oh, Better Call Saul. Do you watch Better Call Saul?
I haven't since you told me, but I saw like clips like Gus. Is Gus in it again?
Yes, Gus is, yes. Oh yes.
I saw the monologue. I was like, "Fuck, that's powerful!" Like
last week there was a scene with him with Giancarlo Esposito that was honestly some of the best acting I've ever seen. Like, he goes between Spanish and English.
I saw that.
Oh, it's amazing, and he's got this plan that's going on in his head at the same time. Like, what he's doing is just like a performance because he's trying to distract the guy with the. I don't want to give too much away. He's trying to distract the guy that he's speaking to, so he's shouting and he's doing this kind of over the top thing, but he's doing something else at the same time to get out of the situation. And it's amazing because he's doing this. So he's acting in 2 different languages, right? He's acting in English and in Spanish, going between them fluently, and he's also giving a totally different performance with his face. Because he's shouting, he's giving a speech like, "You're all a loco, you're all right." He's doing this pure, like, passionate, like, "Screw you, mate, and I'm going to kill every one of you." And he's doing all this, right? But see, at the same time, his eyes are darting, and he's looking for a way out the room. And he's like, and then he sees something, his eyes kind of light up. But at the same time, he's giving this amazing speech, and you're like, "Mate, this is the best acting I've ever seen." It's amazing.
Fuck.
So good.
Oh, like, see now he's in Better Call. I know he was in it in the beginning. He was in it in the last season, like, very briefly, like, kind of cameos, but now I'm guessing he's in it properly.
He's in it quite majorly, aye.
So I might actually jump back on that Better Call Saul train.
Honestly,
I mean, it has been. There wasn't any kind of saying that it was shite in it. It just dropped off the radar.
This is the last season, and it is, honestly, it's up there with the last season of Breaking Bad. Like, it's just as good as the last season of Breaking Bad. It's amazing. I mean, we're still to see how it ends, but so far, like, so they split the season into 2, so it was like the first half and the second half. First half was amazing, and then it's been the first episode of the second half is the last one it was on. So that's where we are.
Is it episodic?
Yeah, it's weekly.
Netflix. Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Usually Netflix just drops the whole thing.
Yeah, I think it's because it's also on AMC though. It's on AMC in America. It's on Netflix in Britain, so it's one of the deals. But it's shit hot. It's incredible. Aye, amazing. Everybody in it. Did you watch Hawkeye? No.
I watched it briefly, the Christmas thing.
Yeah, so see the stepdad, him with the mustache that had like the sword. He's in it. and he's like a cartel guy, and he's incredible. Like he's in that
Is
scene.
he?
It's him and Giancarlo in that scene. Oh my god, both their acting's so good, and the
Is
way
it mostly just him doing the
it's so
speech
good.
and he's just kind of reacting to what he's saying? Is that
Aye,
what the
but
fuck are you saying?
there's a bit before that where he gets to do a bit of, I don't know, just a bit of kind of
Intimidation.
overacting, and aye.
Oh.
And do you know what I thought when I was watching it? He would make a really good Green Goblin. That guy.
Oh, is his facial expressions like when he's angry?
He's just so intense. Like he's just so
Uh,
insane, but enjoying himself at the same time. Like he's he's brilliant.
he's a maniac.
Tony Dalton is doing this. He would right. So I was thinking he would either work. At first, I was like he'd be a good Joker, and I was like, no, we've got 40 Jokers now. We don't need another one. And then I thought he'd be a good Green Goblin, and then I'm like, well, he would also be a good Bond villain. Like seeing a Bond movie, that sort of just over the top, slightly insane, but also in control type villain that's just laughing the whole time, but also could kill you at any moment. He's got that down,
unpredictable.
Man. He's shit. Oh shit, he can't be Green Goblin because he's already been in Hawkeye. Right, okay, Bond then. Make him the next Bond villain. There you go.
Well, we need some good Bond villains because like sometimes like the last couple of ones have been a bit shaky.
Well, Rami Malek's an amazing actor, and they pure wasted him. I thought, and
they wasted him.
And No Time to Die. But anyway, that's a different conversation. Yeah, Saul's great. Giancarlo Esposito was amazing, and so is Tony Dalton, and so is Bob Odenkirk and Rhea Seehorn, who's Kim Wexler. So Kim, you've seen the start, so you know that Kim's like his business partner, and they end up becoming a couple. So what the hell is going to happen to Kim because she's not in Breaking Bad, and we're almost at Breaking Bad. So that's building tension as well. You're like, oh shit, is she going to die? Is she going to leave? What's going to happen there?
I mean, you could say like what you could try and figure it like that's what he Saul done to Kim, what he done eventually, like got her out, and she's now like she works in a cafe or something.
Well, that's my theory. So in the flash forward scenes when you see him working in Cinnabon, I think we're going to get one of them at the very last episode, and it's going to be him reuniting with Kim because I think everybody expects Kim to die. Everybody thinks Kim's going to die. But I think, well, either it will be nice and it'll be like a nice reunion, or she'll be pissed off and raging. She'll be like, "You made me throw my life away," and it'll be that sort of.
Depressed. He is always depressed in those the flashbacks. You know, he's always kind of like looking down. He's like, "Oh fuck." Like, so maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe
it's honestly it's proper edge of your seat stuff, and the acting's amazing. The writing's incredible. It's one of the best shows in telly. Buzzing for next week, and buzzing for just to see how it all wraps up, man. Hope it's not disappointing.
So, how is it only started then? So is it
just the last half of the last season has just started? So I think there's like 7 episodes. I think there's 8 episodes in each half, so there's like 7 episodes left.
So 8 weeks.
So if you were to go back, what are you on, like season 3 or something?
I'm on where Chuck houses explodes.
Right.
Oh, he's out on fire, so I'm on that side.
Right. See, to be honest with you, I love Chuck. I like that dynamic, but see, when he dies, that's when the show gets amazing. See, for that point on.
I thought that as well. Like when he died, I was like, oh, for fuck's sake. I liked that whole bad.
I like that dynamic too. But honestly, it just gets better for there.
Does it get better?
Yeah, it does. Okay. I would, if I was you, once you're finished The Boys, I would catch up with Saul because that, and then you'll probably catch up just in time for this season finishing.
Aye, I'll do that. Actually, that's a good wee talk.
So
we
good.
can talk about it. That'd be
good. Right.
My redemption.
Let's move on. So we left some news off. I just realised we left a bit of gaming news off. I don't know if you want to cover this Alien game that you showed me.
Oh, do you want to? I totally forgot about that as well. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. So
it's a new one.
Right. So Alien Isolation was this brilliant game. It came out in 2014.
Fantastic.
God, that wasn't nearly 10 years ago, was it? Jesus.
Oh, fuck.
That's depressing.
Fuck. Was it from? Was it? I want to say Activision. I don't think it was. Was it? Am I going?
No,
insane?
it was. Oh,
it was a well-known
shit!
company.
Who made that game? Anyway, Alien. I'll Google it. Alien Isolation came out, and it was this amazing kind of atmospheric first-person horror game.
Creative Assembly, sorry.
Developed by Creative Assembly, good shout. And Sega developed it. That's where published it. That's where I think, no Sega. Then last month, 2 months ago, when they did their Summer Game Fest, aka E3, it's not really E3, they made this announcement of this Alien game called Dark Descent, and the CG trailer was amazing. The CG trailer, I was like, this looks like a sequel to Isolation. I'm in. And then at the end, like the last 10 seconds of the trailer was gameplay, and it turns out it's just a shitty isometric strategy game. I was like,
disappointing as shit. I mean, I don't know why they always do this. Like even like the Colonial Marines and stuff like that, and like Alien games should be horror,
yeah,
not like action strategy stuff. Who gives a shit?
I know.
You can't outsmart that. You can outsmart this thing. This thing's just maybe a primal predator. Maybe if I don't know. I mean, you can think about it in other ways that it's got thinking by itself. But who gives a shit? I want to be in a room and I'm helpless and I need to fight.
Yeah,
without like
that's what's
fighting
interesting,
it,
exciting. So Alien Dark Descent, who gives a shit? But there's an Aliens game, like Alien with an S.
Is that the title?
Yeah,
I don't know if they've got something.
I don't know if we've got a title. There's just the poster just says Aliens, and then it's got the studio name under it. So I don't know if there's actually going to be an official title still to be announced.
And it's also the title graphics for the second movie as well. It's the same kind of like kind of blue glowy thing in the middle.
Yeah.
So
So this is the studio that they developed that Creed Rise to Glory. Now the VR Creed game, like the Rocky Balboa VR game. They made that. So this is apparently going to be both playable on like all consoles and in VR. So I'm wondering, will it be like a Resident Evil 7 type situation?
Well, it sounds first person. If it's going to be in VR, it should be in first person.
I'm up for it because Alien Isolation was first person. That game was already shit scary, so why not put it in VR and make it even scarier? Yeah, I'm up for it. That looks great. There's no trailer. There's just a poster and the announcement that it's happening. But
I mean, I'm kind of sad that it's not Creative Assembly. I mean, I thought like I don't know why.
Survios.
Maybe they're
Survios.
Survios. I didn't want to say it because I was going to butcher this name.
Survios.
That's what I was thinking, Survios, but it's probably Survios. But like, I don't know. Maybe the rights have ran out because it is from 20th Century Fox. Maybe the rights have ran out with Creative Assembly, and
probably
the guys.
There's just option to buy it. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, but I love how they're going back to no one can hear you scream in space, so it's going to be kind of...
The poster looks great as well. The look of the Xenomorphs coming out the fog, that immediately says, right, this isn't going to be an action game, it's going to be a horror game, which is what you want. No. Now, Aliens, the movie, it's more action than horror, but it's got both elements, so I'm be fine with something that does both. Like, I'm fine with that sort of balance, if they can strike that balance. It doesn't need to be a pure horror game, as long as it's an action game with strong horror elements, like the movie. Then I'm okay with that.
I just realised it's multiple ones, so imagine that. Like that was just one alien that was hunting you in Alien Isolation. Imagine 3.
But that's the thing. I think that's the thing I've always struggled with Aliens games. Like there was that Aliens Colonial Marines game. If the struggle I think is, I mean that game was bad for many reasons, but one of the reasons was if you put in a bunch of aliens, you need to make them fairly easy to kill. See if you put in like you're saying, Chris, that Alien in Isolation was super hard to fight. If you put 40 of them in, you're never going to beat the game. Like you need to make the aliens a bit easier. Do you know what I mean? Which
they need to be kind of balanced, yeah.
But then, to be honest, the movie's kind of like that too. Like in the first one, the alien feels way more hard to kill than in the second one. So, yeah.
I mean, yeah. I think like hopefully I don't know the way I'm thinking. Jenk, are you looking at to be a more like soldier and you're fighting aliens, or Jenk, you're more like what you were in the first one? Like
I would like
you were even Ripley's child in that one.
Yeah, Amanda. I would like to be a random like kind of survivor,
civilian,
but I don't think you will be. I think you will be a soldier, but we'll see.
Oh, I mean, maybe you are a soldier and you kind of get it's like the same Alien Isolation grind where you halfway through it. I mean, it's debatable if halfway through that game it turns into mush, but at least like, there's a progress of like you can get like a more advanced weapon. You know, maybe you just have a pistol and that just distracts it. You know, it doesn't actually kill the thing. But it's better than. I don't want to be being able in the first 10 minutes be able to kill one of them.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
That'll totally destroy you. Well, this game isn't hard at all. But I mean, pumped for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting that we're getting a lot of license games at the minute, like Terminator, Alien, RoboCop. Like we're getting all these kind of 80s license games, but if they're good, why not?
That's what happens. Like in the film industry, they were doing all these sequels, like Top Gun and stuff like that. Now they're doing it for the games. Like we can't create anything original. Let's just get
pretty much. Yeah. I'm surprised they've not announced a Top Gun VR game. That seems obvious. Do you know what I mean?
Tom Cruise is the instructor. He's like,
Yeah,
"How you doing, boys?"
100%.
That's maybe his voice. Oh, but
Right. Now, there's two wee bits of news here we're going to talk about before we move on to the topic. I don't know which one you want to talk about first. So,
I'm interested in the Wolverine. If is that the one you were going with?
well, me too, but I think I've got more to say about that. So the first one, I'll get this one at the road first because this isn't from as reliable of a source. There's been it's like Marvel fan pages and stuff that have been posting this. I've not seen it on like IGN or like any kind of more official boards. But there's a rumor. Take it with a huge grain of salt. There's a rumor that Anthony Starr from The Boys, Homelander, is in talks to play Dracula in the Blade movie. So in the comics, if you don't know, Blade fights Dracula. If this is true, I'd be bang up for it.
Cool.
I think he's proven that he can play a horrifyingly terrifying, villain, with just no morals, which is kind of what you want Dracula to be. I think he kind of looks like a vampire. Like, see if you made his face pale and gave him like long hair, he would look like
Is it because he still looks young?
Yeah, he just has that look about him. I think he just looks creepy and menacing and. But yeah, like old but not old. Like he's just he's got that just good look for being like a vampire. I think
he looks ancient, but he's young.
So yeah, like I said, it's not official, and I think I heard about this yesterday, and it's still not been reported by any of the big sites, which has made me think might be bullshit. But what these small rumors sometimes do is they get the big sites talking, and then that gets Marvel talking. Do you know what I mean? Like Marvel might just see this and be like, "That's actually good casting. We might do that." Look at John Krasinski with Fantastic Four. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I think he could be a good Dracula. Really, like I mean, in the comics, Dracula's not like usually the normal Draculas. He's like kind of a thin old man, but I believe in the Blade comics, he's built like a rocket.
Yeah,
like, he's not like a wee frail Dracula. So, I mean, I really wanted him to kind of branch out and not do another psychopath, you know. Like, I mean, if he can do something a bit different, then may as well. But hopefully he's not Homelander, but Dracula. You know, maybe hopefully he can like jump about a wee bit. But I mean, also that could be like Dracula's a major villain, But I'm guessing that if it's a Blade movie, they might just kill him at the end of it. But
yeah,
it's like all these we kind of. I mean, like Marvel's talking. I know we're going to talk about this further, but like they're going into the more magical side where like Mephisto could potentially come through and stuff like that.
yeah.
So they can't kill. Dracula's such a massive name, so I don't think Blade. I know Blade does. I don't know if he does kill him in the comics or like
He probably does eventually, but I think
there's something about.
I
Like,
agree with you. I think they can.
Something.
I don't think they should kill him in the first Blade movie. Like that's Marvel's thing. They seem to kill their villains within the first movie. Like they bring in someone like Ethan Hawke for Moon Knight and then kill him at the end of the first season. It's like, Dane, you had one of the best actors gone. You've just killed him. Like, so after getting Anthony Starr, I'm like, get like 4 movies out of him and then kill him. Like, don't just bring him in and kill. I hate that shit. Same with Michael B. Jordan with Black Panther. I mean, there's rumors that he might be coming back, but I mean, you get Michael B. Jordan, like he's incredible, and then you just kill him in one movie. Like you don't even use him well. You use him in a shitty CGI fight and then kill him. But you didn't. Anyway, we'll get on to Marvel bashing in a second. So the other piece of casting news, which is more kind of concrete, THR have reported that.
Reliable.
Comicbook.com, IGN. Tyrone Edgerton, who best known for playing Eggsy in the Kingsman movies, also in the Elton John movie. He done a great job as Elton John in that Rocketman film. He is looking like he might be playing Wolverine. At the very least, he's being considered. He has had several meetings with Marvel in the office, and they've done I don't know if they've done a costume test, but they're obviously trying to feel him out and see if he's right for the role. I love this casting. I don't think it wouldn't be my number one choice, but it makes a lot of sense. What do you think, Chris?
Immediately I was like, oh fuck no. But be honest, now looking at him, I'm thinking he could probably work there for 10 years, and you could probably get a good kind of bounce of. He's kind of a young. It's just because he's aggressive. I mean, he is small, isn't he? Like Wolverine is supposed to be small.
Yeah.
If he wears the costume, fantastic. I will be right behind him. See if he wears the yellow and blue one.
Why was your first thought? Oh no! What made you?
I don't know. I thought it was just because I think Kingsman 3 left a bad taste in my mouth, and I was like, oh fuck.
But he wasn't in that. But yeah, that was a terrible film, but he wasn't in that. Yeah. The second one wasn't great either, though, and he was in that.
No, the second one. Sorry, yeah, the second one.
The third one was shite too.
The third one was awful as well. But yeah, I mean, it was just kind of I've not really seen him in anything Has he been anything else than Kingsman?
Rocketman.
Anything that?
He was in that Robin Hood reboot. He played Robin Hood in that weird
Yeah,
Robin Hood movie with Jamie Foxx. Yeah, it
was
was
Jamie
so
Foxx.
weird.
That was
Just
shite,
CGI
man.
shite. Aye, add him to that list.
Exactly.
But aye,
I mean, I saw that, but I mean, it's nothing against the guy. I actually liked him in Kingsman. It was just kind of like I was always that kind of reflective element of it's Hugh Jackman. You know, he's going to be going
so
away. You know,
so
that's
I
really it.
think
But I'm happy.
I think he's a great choice, and I'll give you a few reasons why. Again, the height thing. That's my biggest thing. I want a short, stocky actor.
A wee small one.
Yeah, because that is what he is in the comics. He's not this big. I love Hugh Jackman. I love his take on it, but he's not a big, handsome Australian guy. That is not the character.
No,
He is
no.
a small, smelly,
Brute.
rough brute of a character. Like that is who the character is. My initial choice would have been Tom Hardy, but Tom Hardy seems to be really invested in Venom for some stupid reason, even though his films are balls. But anyway, it's beside the point. I hate Venom.
It's really like dripping the sauce of this Marvel hate thing.
So, we're also not going to get Tom Hardy, but Taron Egerton. So some folk are saying he's too young still. This is kind of mental, to be fair. The guy is a year older than Hugh Jackman was in the first X-Men movie. So there you go. He's not too young. Yeah, he's a year older than Jackman was. So he's perfect. And like you're saying, he's young enough that he can play it for 10, 15 years the way that Hugh Jackman did. You know, you can get a good few movies out of this guy. Crossovers and group movies and Avengers films and solo films and whatever. Like you can do all of that. He also has the rough thing going. Like quite often, he's got a wee bit of a beard, he's got a bit of stubble. You kind of play that up. You kind of make him a bit more dirty looking.
Well. He's got a jaw.
Yeah,
it's not like a.
Yeah, he could totally. You could see him with the mask on. You know, you can only see his chin and his mouth, and he would look the part. He could. I mean, I don't think the boy's in bad shape, but he could get in, really incredible shape. He could get himself pure bulky. You know, he could work with all these Marvel fitness people and get, in the right sort of wide but small shape for it that you need to be for Wolverine. I think he'd be great. I think.
Or he could do a Homelander and just get muscle suits.
To be fair, that's what I would do. 100%, man. Sack that.
Just give me
steroids and all that. No, just get a muscle suit. It's much easier.
But what's exciting for me is that this is the kind of like the prime time possibly to do what X-Men was trying to do in the early 2000s. Like they've now got the prime space to say, right, let's make a proper X-Men reboot. Let's connect. We've got the groundbreaker of Marvel's a thing.
Yeah.
Superheroes are a thing. Let's build the proper, like, comic accurate version. I even think they're rebooting the X-Men the cartoon. So.
Aye, well they're doing it on Disney Plus X-Men 97. But so aye, that's what I was going to say. This is kind of tying into our topic. That's why I left this piece on news until then. The X-Men are probably the biggest major element of Marvel that they haven't used yet in the movies. X-Men and Fantastic Four, but technically they've had Mr. Fantastic, although it was an alternate reality version, but whatever, and Doctor Strange. But aye, it kind of feels like, I think to a lot of outside folk, and to me as well, who is a Marvel fan, they're kind of scraping the barrel. Like Miss Marvel, she's fine, but she's not an A-list character. Yeah. Moon Knight is not an A-list character. Do you know what I mean? Like all these kind of characters that they're focused on recently, they're way kind of smaller. The only kind of big characters they've got left are Thor, Hulk.
And apparently Thor's coming back. Like it says, Thor will return at the end of the Thor movie. So unless that you could debate on what Thor,
but like when you actually look at the lineup, there's not that many big characters that are left. So
no,
Wolverine could be your big, your big kind of
staple.
Pull people in to see it because oh my god, I recognise that name, Wolverine, Hugh Jackman. I love that film. I'm going to see this one. Do you know what I mean? That'll get arses and seats. That'll sell. That'll get people hyped.
Or do you think they would do like a Wolverine movie, like separate? They wouldn't do an X-Men.
I don't think they'll start with that, but I think definitely down the line, aye. It's Disney. Like they're giving Boba Fett his own show. Like of course they're going to do it for the X-Men. Do you know what I mean? Of course they are.
Yeah,
they'll do an X-Men. They'll introduce them in like an Avengers movie or something. They'll do the first like introduction, and then they'll do an X-Men movie, and then we'll get Wolverine show, Cyclops show, Jean Grey show, Storm show. We'll get just milk it.
They've really done themselves a really fucking disservice. See if they done what Deadpool done in fucking Doctor Strange, where like he somehow went into a mansion, he opened the door, and fucking Egerton was down with Cyclops or fighting over was it Jane?
Jean Grey.
Jean Grey, aye. Fighting over there or something like that. They just opened the door, that is it. It's sold. Like something's coming.
Well,
You know,
they've
really fucked off. They shot themselves in the foot with that.
So slight spoilers for the end of Miss Marvel, but they have sort of already done what you just said, kind of.
Oh, really?
The last scene in Miss Marvel, which I have not actually watched yet, but I've just seen the clip. It's I can't remember what his nerdy pal's called, but it's her talking to her nerdy pal, right? And he says, "Oh, your results came back for your powers. You know how we thought it was the bracelet that was giving you powers, but it turns out it wasn't the bracelet. It's coming for your genes. Your genes have mutated." And then you hear, and then it ends.
No,
Yeah.
no. You hear?
So
Oh,
Miss
that might
Marvel's a
just
mutant,
give me
basically. Miss Marvel's a mutant, and I also like how it just shows you how little of a shit Marvel give about the Inhumans, because in the comics, in the comics, Kamala's an Inhuman, and in the movies, they're like, nah, Inhumans are shite, she's a mutant now. So yeah, she is the first like mutant officially in the MCU. So I think I don't know how they'll do it, but they'll introduce them in some way, and like I don't think they'll do an X-Men movie before introducing them because that's not really Marvel style.
No,
they'll do like a post credits or something. They'll tie in Charles Xavier or Wolverine. We'll see like one or two characters, and then X-Men movie coming out next July, and then it'll be the big hype train of trailers, and then the X-Men will come out, and then after that the solo movies or shows on Disney Plus or whatever.
Do you think it's a whole recast of the X-Men? So you're not getting James McAvoy, you're getting another Professor X?
I think
so.
Do
you think they might say, let's use these guys?
See, I've thought that before, and I mean they're keeping other characters. I mean, they kept Evan Peters as Quicksilver in WandaVision.
Yeah.
Even though he wasn't really, just was a fake one or whatever. But yeah. So I don't know. They could go either way, but I would expect him to recast. I think they'll get a fresh start.
Right, because I don't really think, like, even though James McAvoy done a great performance in the first one, I think it was like in Days of Future done an alright one. I still don't think anybody can beat Patrick Stewart. Who would you cast for Patrick Stewart's role?
Who would I cast as Professor X?
For Professor X, Patrick Stewart.
That's a good question. Do you know we did?
Like, there's not many baldy men that I would.
On the old podcast, way back, we did an X-Men casting episode actually, and I can't remember who I said at the time.
And my mind there just went. It went to a place of Kevin Spacey, and I was like, you can't get.
No.
Son.
A school full of children? No. Let's not get Kevin Spacey anywhere near that school.
No, that wasn't connected at all. I mean, you could get the guy out of the Kingsman, like the Mark. Is it Mark Strong?
Mark Strong? Yeah, I don't hate that.
He's British.
I'll need to think about that. I'll need to really think about that.
Wait, hold on. Is it a new, like, see when you're thinking, is it a new thing of X-Men, like, including the Tyrone Edgerton? Is it a new, complete, fresh take what they've done in the 2000s? I can't remember the fucking director's name.
Brian Singer.
Guy. Brian Singer.
Who's another nonce.
Don't
have near school either.
No, but like, where like they create new suits, or is it like a connection to the comics that what they've done with Wanda and stuff? They kind of got her comic suit in.
They will go. Here's my prediction: they will go full suits right for the start, because they've teased the yellow suit for Wolverine for 20 years at this point. Marvel are at a point now where they're not afraid to just go balls out comic accurate. Look at Falcon Winter Soldier, where they had the white suit with the wings, which it's a bit silly, but it's right from the comic. Do you know what I mean? It's exactly the same. I think they'll just say right from the get go, this is the suits, this is comic accurate what we're doing. I think that's what people want, and I think we're at a point now that people will accept it, and it's not like 2001 or whatever the first one came out, where people were like, "Oh, superheroes are dumb." Like, that's not really the general population's opinion at this point. So I think they can get away with doing yellow suits and colourful blue and whatever. Yeah, I'm excited. I like the X-Men, and when I was going to go with it, connecting this into the topic, the X-Men could be the answer for where the MCU is going in the future, because it's one of the only elements that's not, like I said, they're kind of escaping the barrel with like other characters. X-Men, you've got a lot of stories there that are worth telling. You could bring in like Apocalypse, you can make him the next Thanos. You could bring in, if you're doing Fantastic Four, you bring in Doctor Doom, get Mads Mikkelsen. There you go. Yeah,
He would actually be a good one, actually.
Mazmakus would be an amazing Doctor Doom. Or Professor X, or Magneto. I don't know.
Oh no, he's a villain. I think
Yeah. Oh wait,
he's
shit!
always
He was
above
already
that.
in Doctor Strange. They wasted him in the first Doctor Strange.
Oh fuck, we
Casillas or
Dormammu.
Castellas or whatever it was
Yeah.
called. Oh god damn it! God damn you, Marvel! Why are you wasting good actors
Why are
on
you wasting good
forgettable
actors?
roles? He'd be such a good Doctor Doom. Idiots. Anyway,
Oh.
I just haven't played both. Nobody cares. Nobody remembers that shitty Doctor Strange
Nobody remembers that.
villain anyway.
Nobody remembers. We'll just
Um,
say.
yeah. So, aye, X-Men could be where they go. Wanda's obviously quite tied to the X-Men because no more mutants from House M and all that
That's what she
storyline.
says.
But the point is, the MCU feels directionless. That is our
Yeah.
topic for today. I'm considering doing a piece on this. I'm writing with two different teams at the minute. I'm writing with King Gamer. I'm also writing with another website that I'm not going to name right now because I don't know if it's definitely going ahead. But potentially I'll be writing video essays for another website. And the first topic was to do with the boys. Don't get me wrong, don't you worry, I will sell that shit when it's out. Probably next week or the week after, I'll be like, here, watch this video. Stay tuned for that, right? Me plugging that bullshit. But the next topic I might write about is this Marvel not having a direction, because I really noticed it during Thor: Love and Thunder. Marvel don't know what they're doing at the minute. It feels so scattershot. It feels so like. So for years, I've been saying DC, don't try and copy Marvel. Let Marvel have their interconnecting universe. They're good at that. They're good at driving towards a big Thanos type threat and tying it all up. And that's what they do. That's what MCU does. DC, you have amazing characters: Batman, Superman, Lex Luthor, Joker, Wonder Woman. All these amazing characters and amazing stories. Just make good films. They don't need to connect. Let directors do their own thing, like Joker and like Matt Reeves' Batman and like Zack Snyder's Justice League. Just they don't all need to be connected. You can have different stories based on these good characters, right? Marvel now seem like they nailed the Infinity War thing. Fair play, right? 30 movies in a row, and well, maybe not 30, 20 odd, and they're all they all lead up to this amazing climax, and you knocked it out the park. You made a shit ton of money. Well done. Now what? Do you know what I mean? It feels like they've not thought ahead, and now they're at a stage and they're like, oh shit, we've got this massive fan base now, we've got all this following. These people will come to the cinema just to see a film just because it's a Marvel film. Don't even really need to know it, and people will just go and see the new Marvel film at this point. What do we do with that? And it's like they don't know. They don't know. They've got good creators, they've got good minds, they've got Taika Waititi, they've got the Russo brothers are away, I guess, but they've got talented people on these shows and movies. Matt Shackman did WandaVision, who's a clever wee TV director, did a lot Always Sunny. I just think.
Do you think they were? I'm not saying they wouldn't have. They must have thought, but do you think that like Kevin Feige was thinking, well, Infinity War will be the end, and then we can start a new slate, and then they realise, fuck, people want to jump onto this. We need to create these other kind of chains of things. Let's get a timeline in place. Let's say we're going to create all these movies without really any connection.
Do you want to know what I think the problem is?
Is it Kevin Feige?
No, it's Disney. I think.
Really?
I think
this all happened.
Don't get me wrong. Disney have kind of like helped this to happen, getting their due for that. They've put the money in, and okay, they've made a shit ton of money, but they've kind of made all this possible, right? Fair enough. But see if this wasn't Disney, see if this was like Kevin Feige's own production or a smaller, kind of more independent film studio rather than a big corporation like Disney. I think what you do is you make these like 25 movies. Let's say I can't remember what number Endgame was, but let's just say it's 25. You do Endgame, right, and then you stop and you say, right, Robert Downey Jr., you go and enjoy your retirement. Chris Evans, you go and make other movies, do what you're doing. That's done. And then you leave it for a year or 2 years, maybe even. And then, because then you leave people wanting. Then when you make the announcement that here, we're doing an X-Men film, people are buzzing. Whereas then now, it's like, oh, we've got Miss Marvel, who's this kind of half-arsed B-list character in an okay TV show. Oh, but she's a mutant. Here, you like X-Men, don't you? Like, it doesn't feel as. Whereas if they were just to radio silence, like, we're not doing any more movies, that's us done. And then you let COVID happen, because it was perfect timing for COVID, right? COVID happens, they've got no Disney Plus shows, because let's be honest, would be any worse off without them. I don't think there's been anything that's been necessary, to be honest. So you have a pure hiatus, and then you turn up at Comic-Con and you say, here, we're doing Secret Wars, or we're doing House of M, or we're doing Doctor Doom. You announce a big storyline, and then you say, and this is the slate of movies. So we're going to do an X-Men movie, a Fantastic Four movie, and then you do your Miss Marvel film. I'm not saying you can't have that. You do Thor 4, like have all that, but have it referenced and tied into this bigger thing. Instead of just having all these random, like Moon Knight. I was excited for Moon Knight. Love Oscar Isaac. Love Ethan Hawke. Buzzing to see what they were going to do with it, and it just didn't tie into anything. Like Moon Knight is so relevant to the wider MCU. It happened. It introduced another version of the afterlife, I guess, and then they wasted the villain at the end. Ethan Hawke died, and okay, like that was it. It had nothing to do with it. That show might as well not have happened, and nothing would be different. Same with Thor: Love and Thunder. That movie might as well not have happened, and nothing would be different. It didn't affect anything in the wider MCU. We didn't get any ties to anything really. It was just look at this quirky, dumb Taika comedy that happens to have Christian Bale in it. Like that's all Thor was really, and it's just like, I need more than that. I don't need everything to be like connected, like or everything. You need to mention Thanos every 2 seconds. Like I'm not saying that I don't need that, but see at the end of the movie, just do what you used to do and give us something. Give us Nick Fury showing up at the end of Thor 4 and saying, Thor, we need you back. Even just that would be like, right, okay, that feels like the movie was worth watching. Whereas as it stands now, the movie doesn't even feel like it was worth. Like you were saying earlier, how the Black Phone didn't feel like a waste of time. Thor: Love and Thunder did feel like a waste of time in the cinema.
Wow, really?
Like it was. My mum always describes these movies as being about a whole load of nothing. Like, see, because she doesn't like comic book shit. She's like, these movies are just about a whole load of nothing. Honestly, that analysis is spot on about Thor: Love and Thunder. That is a movie all about nothing. Like nothing happens. Christian Bale, I told you this, didn't I? Christian Bale shows up. No, you didn't stay last week. Sorry, no, you were away.
I listened to it.
If you listened last week, you've all heard this. But Christian Bale shows up, kidnaps a bunch of kids. Thor has to go and rescue those kids. He rescues them, of course he does. It's a Marvel film, and then the film ends, and that's it. That's the whole film. And it's like, what was the point of any of that? Like, what was the point of us keeping up? And I don't know. I need more.
Do you think that is like it's a lack of kind of the thought? Because when you look back of it, they give Kevin Feige a great like kudos for doing all these 20 films. But do you think when you thought about with Joss Whedon when they were done the first Avengers, no, even that, but building up to that, they did drop Thanos in very slowly when he was going to get the. I mean, it's kind of when he went and got the glove and stuff like that. He was coming to get you.
There was a lot of luck involved with the whole Endgame thing. Like you're saying, they didn't really know what they were doing at that point either. They just sprinkled this stuff in, and it just happened to all work.
It just worked.
It was a lot of luck. I get that, but just do that again. Like just repeat the formula. You know that works, so just do the same thing for another big threat. Do Silver Surfer. Do Galactus. You've got all these major threats in Marvel that are ripe. You've bought Fox now, so you've not got an excuse. You own Galactus, Silver Surfer, Doctor Doom. You own all these characters.
You own all the big characters, yeah.
X-Men. So like, just use them. Just do something with them. And I don't know. I do
like your idea of having a 2-year break, because even through COVID, it does make, even though we had these shows and stuff like that, you're like, but seeing the longer game of things, like they're not connected at all. Like, what's the point?
And
take a break and plan what the fuck the next stage is, and then you can make mega money.
I feel like the MCU is so oversaturated at the minute. It's like we're getting so many shows and movies that it's like, who cares? Like, who gives a shit? I don't know. It's too much. They're giving us too much at the minute.
There's no narrow focus. They're basically just giving you a big selection of just
it feels
random
like
stuff.
Where it used to be like, the MCU used to be like a sniper rifle. They would place their shot carefully and take it and nail their shot. See, now it's just running with a shotgun and just hoping to hit something. Like that's what it feels like. Or another example would just be throwing stuff at the wall and just hoping that something sticks. Like they're just, it feels so like scattershot and there's no aim to it at all. It's just random. Oh, this is quite funny. This is kind of fun. Let's do this.
Yeah,
and it's like, what's the point? And I also think that they're becoming, I think I said this in the chat. No, it was in our chat. Joe said this, but they're kind of becoming the stereotype of what people used to slag the MCU for. People used to say, "Oh, Marvel movies are just like CGI bullshit and full of jokes." Like that's what DC fans used to kind of describe the MCU as that. Like, oh, it's just CGI shite and full of jokes, and there's no real emotional moments.
I think I was one of those.
Mate, that is Thor Ragnarok. That is Thor: Love and Thunder. That is what the MCU is becoming, because it's just like they're proving they're proving the haters right, I guess. Like, I hate to sound like a
Yeah.
teenager, but they are, like, they're
proving the haters right.
they are, though, like, they used to be more than that, and I was never a big, massive fanboy for either DC or Marvel, but that did used to piss me off because I was like, that's not true, like, there is more to Marvel than just that, but no, see, at this point, there's not, that is Marvel at the minute, and they need to do something about it, they need to give us a direction, they need to give us a name.
There's no kind of collective vision. I mean, I think they're going with quantity rather than quality, which is kind of
100%.
Which is, I mean,
like,
everybody was excited when they had the big timeline of things. You're like, wow. But it's
and
like...
I also get it from a business point of view. They've just launched a new streaming service, and they're trying to well, it's not that new, but it's been out for a couple of years. But it's still fair compared to Netflix and Amazon. It's new, so they're trying to compete. They're the newest kid on the block. They're trying to get up there with the numbers that Netflix and Amazon have got. I get that they're trying to get a lot on there right away because I agree with that. It's like when a new console comes out, there's no games for it, and you buy this PS5, and you're like, oh, this is kind of a waste of money. There's no games for it. It would be the same with Disney Plus. See if you subscribe to Disney Plus, and you'd be like, oh, no shows on this. Why did I buy this? They do need to fill up their thing, so I get it for that perspective. But is it worth letting your biggest franchise suffer in quality wise for the sake of a streaming service? Do you know what I mean? That's the question. Is it worth hindering this amazing thing you've built for the sake of like just some subscription money?
No, I mean,
and that's what I'm saying about Disney being the problem. If it wasn't Disney, they would just take a big break, or they would. Do you know, I don't know.
I mean, like, see, they've done it with Mandalorian. Like, Mandalorian's been a massive break, but they have shoved stuff to keep that as a filler. Like, I think Mandalorian's took about 3 years or something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm totally wrong. But like, they could have done. I mean, maybe they're doing that actually with all the TV shows. Maybe they're doing this filler stuff. Doesn't make any sense, but they're planning out the next stage, and they're saying, right, okay, you had fun with all these random fucking TV shows, but we've actually tried to plan this. There's no fucking random connections. We've done Loki. We're going out in the magic realm with Wanda. Blah 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 blah. But now, here it is. Silver Surfer is the biggest version. We're getting these guys in. We're getting that.
Yeah.
You've been introduced to these guys softly, but now that's all connected or something like that. I don't know. But
no, I think that sounds better than what they're doing. Like, yeah. 100%.
No, I mean, hopefully that's a DC guy coming to try to help them.
I know, exactly. You're United movies, and you've got a better idea of what works. It's like, how do they know?
Supposed to go against.
They've made all these movies. How do they know like what works? It's
Jenk is like kind of like Jenk is worth. I mean, I'm guessing Kevin Feige's just the kind of guy, but Jenk, there's been some sort of connection where there's another kind of creative director kind of thing at the top, and they're clashed or something. Like, he's Marvel, and they've got a Disney creative director or something like that, and it's like they're clashing each other.
So there's a guy, I think you've just hit the nail on the head. There's a guy called Ike Perlmutter, who is the chairperson of Marvel Entertainment. He is a bigwig. He's a pure businessman. His dad was like pals with Walt Disney, so he's like up there. He's a multi-billionaire. He's the CEO of Marvel Toys, so he also owns all the merchandise. And apparently him and Kevin Feige hate each other. Apparently they despise each other. They can't be in the same room. Like, they absolutely hate each other.
Drama.
So apparently there's been a promotion thing in the talks for years for Kevin Feige. They've been going to promote him to like head of entertainment or head of, like, he's the head of the Marvel movies at the minute, but they were going to promote him. And every time they do a vote around the board, so all the board members get a vote, and the one that always votes against him is like Perlmutter for getting this promotion. And I got to the point that Kevin Feige was going to leave Marvel and go to DC. This is in 2019, I think. He was getting fed up, and he was like, "See, if you don't promote, like, give me something for everything I've gave you, I'm going to DC." And they gave him something that wasn't quite the same promotion, I don't think, but they promoted him like a bit, and they kind of like they gave him more control than that Perlmutter guy. They were like, "Right, you can have more control than him," and they sort of shifted it so that they were keeping everybody happy. So he's still the major shareholder, he's still in charge of the MCU, but slightly higher position, and he's basically more creative control. So that was like the deal that they worked out, but he was ready to walk, he was ready to go to DC. So
well, it sounds like maybe like 2019, so maybe that's why it's all shaky.
Also, Ike Perlmutter is also best pals with Donald Trump, so yeah, there's also that. It's amazing how these scumbags all hang about together, isn't it?
They all have a club. They all have a club.
Yeah.
No, but maybe that's what it is. Maybe in 2019 he was like, right, I'm done. I'm not having any creative vision, whatever. We're doing these shows. Who gives a shit? They're not connected, whatever. And then he's like, well, we'll give you a wee bit more money. If they're fine, right? Fuck, I need to make a connection somehow. Like, they're all
Kind of
fucking
retroactively try
random.
to work it. I don't know.
Mm.
I don't know. I feel like there's a part of me that's like this thing that they've done, right? This
This
series
beast,
that they've built. It's too big to leave it just kind of like half-arsed and let like an argument like this ruin it. But see, at the same time, see when you hear about like when you read into history and you read into politics and you read into certain decisions that were made and not made,
It's the smallest thing.
it's always like 2 or 3 guys with massive egos that just have a fight, and then that leads to like World War II. Like, do you know what I mean? That's how that leads to like 9/11 happening. Like at least this horrific shit just because these guys with big egos can't agree on something. So
Can't agree.
So I know this is entertainment. This isn't as important as those historical events. That's not what I'm saying, right? But I'm saying that something on this scale can still be decided or ruined over a dumb argument. Like,
because it's
100%.
imagine like he's working there. He's working there all day, and he's still got this kind of element of like, oh fuck, that guy still has a wee bit of control over me. He's stopping me from moving up in the world. So he's like, just as a human element, like you're not going to get any further than where you are because of that one guy. So he's probably thinking, right, I'm going to destroy Marvel now. I built it. I'm going to destroy it. Like, oh, that would be brilliant. I would love that.
World. I'm going to bring you out of it.
I would love that. I would love it. That would be the greatest satisfaction. Well, not really. I love DC. I love Marvel. So, I mean, from a DC perspective, that would be brilliant. But then they would be worse off in the world because there's no comic book movies that are good.
It's
DC
just
are doing shite at the moment.
Well, that's the thing. It's amazing though how I didn't feel like Marvel could stumble, in my opinion. Like
No.
Sony Marvel films like Venom and Morbius, they were allowed to be shit because they were like side movies, and then DC. Although it's always been frustrating because DC have got all their characters and they can't make a great universe, there are still good movies that come out of that, like Batman and Joker, and I enjoy Zack Snyder's Justice League. The director's cut, the original was shite, but I like the 4-hour version. So there are good elements that come out of DC 100%. I liked Wonder Woman as well. I thought that was first movie was decent. Like there's good shit there, but they've not been able to nail it like Marvel have, and it feels like nothing was stopping Marvel. Marvel was just this like tank that just kept going and kept going, and then it was like, oh wait, you've got all these shows on Disney Plus that are great. You've got this movie, this massive blockbuster movie that Thor: Love and Thunder's doing very well commercially. It's making a shit ton of money, but critically, people don't like it. It's split people a lot. So maybe they're not untouchable. Maybe they're not, as kind of golden as we thought they were.
No, because I think also, like, see, it plays into what you were saying earlier about, like, the speculation aspect of it. When you had the Marvel elements, when it was just the main movies, you did have the speculation of what's next. Even though it had, like, a wee teaser of, like, Thanos is coming, what could that mean? I feel like we've lost that slightly just because of the TV shows. You're like, you're trying to speculate on all these different elements, like 6 shows, rather than the main course of
100%.
Fuck, who's coming next to kill all these cunts? You would want somebody.
But that's what I said about that. That's why WandaVision and Hawkeye were my favourite shows, because they were the only two that week to week, I was like, oh, what's going to happen next week? I was looking up theory videos. I was on Reddit reading about speculation. The other ones like Loki and Falcon Winter Soldier, I just kind of let them wash over me. I was like, I watched this, it's on. Okay, it's done now. Like, I didn't feel any real connection to it, and it's the same with Miss Marvel. I'm enjoying it for what it is. It's okay. It's just washing over me. Like, it's not getting any real impact, and I'm not going to remember it in a month's time. And I'm like, Loki, I can't remember anything that happened in Loki really, except the very end. Like, they're so forgettable, and I don't know. Like, I'm not gonna see when you go back and rewatch Marvel movies. I quite like doing that sometimes. When like Endgame came out, I went back and watched every Marvel film. See, for the next Avengers movie, I'm not going back and watching all these TV shows. No chance. Do you know what I mean? It's like, how much rewatchability is there really there in these things? There's none. And that's shite. That's something the MCU had gone for it that it's just thrown away. And it feels the same with Thor: Love and Thunder. Like, I have no interest in seeing that movie again because I didn't like it, and it didn't matter. Like, even if I didn't like elements of it, but it still fed into something, I would probably say, it's worth watching, it's worth rewatching. I'm not really bored watching a mediocre comedy that's got nothing to do with anything. Why would I watch that again? Like,
No.
that's Marvel's problem now. And it seems like they don't really know what they're doing. They're fumbling. They're right. They're right. If it's going with metaphors, I'm going to talk about a metaphor I know nothing about, American football. He's right near the touchline. He's right close to the touchline, but then he just fumbles the ball. The ball's like, there's no one near him. Right, the rest of the field's miles away, but all he has to do is just keep running with the ball. But he's like, with the ball. That's Marvel right now, right? Does that metaphor make sense? Anybody watching the big will tell me. That may be total bullshit. I don't know, but that's what I picture Marvel as. I'm like, they're right, or like, okay, let's talk about something I don't know about, actual football, like soccer football. It's there's nobody near him, right? He's running towards the box. The keeper decks it. The keeper's in his ass. He's got a big open goal in front of him, and he's like, "Oh, what did I do?" And then he goes to hit the ball, and you're like, "Is he going to slip? Is he going to hit the bar? What's he going to do?" Like, that's Marvel, then.
He slips and hits the bar.
Or they've got an open goal. It's one of the ones where they've got an open goal. The keeper's on the deck. No defenders need him. He hits the post. Oh no! He hits the bar. Oh no! It's like, just put it in, mate. Just put the ball in the net. That is Marvel, though, now. Right? That's the sort of stress that you're dealing with when you're like, just put the ball in the net. Aye, that's Marvel.
It builds onto the kind of expectations, because you said, like, what's next? Like, Marvel's set up over the years that there's going to be a good, like, a timeline, a storyline of films. It's not like there's no one and done. It's so like they can't do that anymore. They have to commit to what they're doing.
That's also, we're going to wrap up soon here, right? But just one last point. That's why it pisses me off as well when you hear people saying, like, oh, they don't need a goal. All you need to do is make good films. Well, that would be fine if that wasn't what Marvel had established already. Marvel has spent the last 10 years saying, we are heading towards this thing. Come and see these movies because you need to see them to see this one. Right? That's been their whole thing for the last 10 years. You can't all of a sudden just be like, oh, no, they're just fun, whimsical adventures that don't matter. It's like, no, that's not what you've established previously. You can't do all that and give it the end game and then just go back to random bullshit. Like, it feels like a step backwards. Do you know what I mean? It feels like 10 steps backwards. It's like, this isn't even as good as like the Phase 1 movies, because the Phase 1 movies, okay, they weren't that connected, but at least you had like Nick Fury showing up at the end being like, I want to talk to you about the Avengers Initiative. Like, you at least had that one connecting scene in them all. These movies don't even have that. So it's like going back to the 90s when it was like shit Marvel and DC movies that just didn't matter, like Spawn, which was an Image movie, but whatever. Like,
but even what you were saying, like they're doing well financially. Like, the fact is, what you were saying there, you're going to lose faith in people now. They're going to be like, well, if it is going to be a 10, if you're not sticking to the normal Marvel formula, I don't want to watch this.
Yeah.
Is the next one going to be like that? I don't want to watch it. Like, who gives a shit?
Good.
So you're going to lose the trust.
Good faith goes a long way, 100%. The court of public opinion matters a lot more than people, these companies give it credit for. I think a lot of these companies think, oh, we're still making money, who cares? But see, at the end of the day,
when that runs dry, they'll shit themselves.
Look at EA. Look at these other big companies that are multi-million-dollar companies that have got a horrible reputation. Like, you don't want that to happen.
No. It ruins everything as well. Like, even like EA was trying to do good with the Star Wars game, and that was shite.
Yeah.
Because it's going to go down to Star Wars. You're like, oh, well, you've got a great title, but you're EA.
Look at Star Wars. There's another example. When Force Awakens came out, there was so much goodwill. Like, that movie broke records. Everybody in the mall was excited. We all went to see it, and then they done The Last Jedi, and then they done that piece of shit last movie that just isn't even worth.
What's the common denominator? Disney.
Aye.
What's the common denominator?
Goddamn Disney, man.
It must be.
Anyway. I don't know why we do this podcast. It just makes me depressed. Like, I talk about all these things that I like Marvel and Star Wars and games, and then I'm like, these companies are all horrible and I hate them. Like, that's always where we end up into it. It's always like, oh, Disney, yeah. On that cheery note, we'll wrap things up. But yeah, stay tuned for another episode. As I said, we will, and I'm trying to be positive now.
I'm trying to be hopeful there. Stay tuned, mate.
I'm seeing. Just say that. I will see the Black Phone tonight. I'm looking forward to that. That's a positive thing. I'll talk about it. I'll talk about that next week.
I want to see your expectations if you disagree.
We'll be on next week. If you've seen The Boys by next week, we'll talk about that. What your thought of the finale? We'll talk about Black Phone, and we'll talk about some other topic, some other bullshit that we'll come up with on the day, probably, because we're getting less and less organised as time goes on. But anyway,
Just like Marvel.
We should start doing that midweek, like come up with a topic, and we could have a few days to think about it. That would probably be a good shout. Anyway, this is off-air chat that we're having right now. Subscribe to the channel. Give us a like on Facebook. Give us a Instagram. Do you like things on Instagram? I don't know, but we're on there.
I don't know.
Twitter, you can retweet and you can share our shit if you enjoy it. If you're listening to the audio version, you can leave us a review on your podcast app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen. Leave a comment. Let us know. What?
the defeat in your face of that.
I'm not good at this hosting shit, man. I'm doing my best here.
That was just the face. It was brilliant. Leave us a comment, mate.
I think that's what you audio listeners miss out on. You should watch our shit on YouTube for the expressions that I pull.
See the micro expressions.
Yeah, so I leave the comment on YouTube and let us know if you agree with the Marvel thing. Do they need a direction? What do you think of Tyrone Edgerton as Wolverine? I feel like I pronounced his surname differently every time I've said it. I was Edgerton and then Edgerton and then Edgerton. Anyway, whatever his name is, the guy from Rocket Man. What do you think of him as Wolverine? What do you think of Thor? I know we asked that last week, but it's still a talking point, I think, because of the topic we did. If you want to listen to last week's episode and hear more detailed thoughts on Thor and other shows, that'll be linked below.
Shoved in.
Why not link my Thor article below as well, my review, that'll be there. Do you want to click on it, do what you want? I'm losing steam here, clearly.
Shameless plug. Press off.
Chrissy, I'm losing steam. Wrap it up for me.
Right, I'll say, what do we say usually? Right, goodbye. See you on the next page.
Nice. See, it's not easy, isn't it? No,
it's terrible. Oh god. Right, ta-da.
All the best. Cheerio.
See you soon.
Bye. Catch.